share what you've gone through, because when you're able to share, it's so powerful, because then people listening can connect with you on whatever way, right? But they can also help you too when they start hearing certain things, and maybe I've gone through something that's very similar and I can relate and say, hey, I can plug this in for you, or somehow I can help, right? So by telling your story, you create support. People can jump on board and help you, and I think that's important. Also, I think it's important that being able to ask for help, all right? That's one thing, especially when you're younger, it's hard to do sometimes. Older too, you know? When you have need for something, it's okay to ask, hey, I need help. Can you help me with this? All right? Do you guys feel like it's sometimes hard to ask for help? Be honest, right? Right? So one unique thing about telling a story is sometimes by sharing, you're asking for help too sometimes, right? But that's completely separate from you verbally being able to say, hey coach, I need help with this, you know? So just understand they're two different things, but by doing one thing, it can help you with the other. Like coming up here and being able to share can help you with being able to share again and again and again your whole life. You're going to be able to share, hey, I went here, I went there. This coach really impacted me when I went here. You know, you're telling your story when you say that. When you guys come home for this trip, you're going to be telling them about your experience. They're going to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. And you're telling them, hey, this is what I'm trying to do in life. This is my passion. You know why? Because I made a commitment to do this for 7 days, and this is what I learned from it. You know? All right, guys? So, first of all, I just want to commend you guys for being here and be willing to share your story. And I look forward to hearing it. All right? Coaches, you got anything? By the way, this is Coach Desi Relaford.
I haven't met most of you guys.
Okay.
I mean, I've met most of you guys, but I'm Desi. Coach. I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Stand up. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I played for 17 professional seasons, 11 in the major leagues with 7 different teams. I was with Philly, San Diego, Mets, Mariners, Colorado, Kansas City, and Texas. Came up as a shortstop. Ended up being a utility guy in the latter part of my career, so I got to play everywhere but catcher. So I have a pretty good or different perspective on the game from different positions, and just being able to play the game at different positions gives you different perspective. I guess a more overall holistic type perspective of the game. So I have knowledge. So on this trip, guys, if there's anything you need or want to know, don't be afraid to ask. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you get better. Information helps you get better. So yeah, we're here to have fun. I hope you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to have a great time, a really good experience on this trip. I'm excited for you. And yeah, just have some fun. Come up here today, be open. It can be a little bit, nerve-wracking for people to stand up and talk in front of people. You get a little nervous or whatever else, but don't worry about it. Most of the guys in here feel just like you do today. So come up here, have fun, talk about yourself, and have fun.
My baseball story, I started at a young age, t-ball age, 4 or 5. I played baseball just more for the fun of it. I didn't really have that true passion yet, but when I got to about 12 years old, I had a coach, always put me in right field, always at the bottom of the lineup. I started seeing these other kids start passing me up on skill level, and then I started getting this passion inside of me of I really want to start working harder, and I really want to start being better than most people. So I'd start going in my backyard every day, and I'd set up my net, and I'd set up my little tee, and I just started taking hats. And then I started seeing myself improve a little bit better, and I started progressing, and I started to play Super League baseball, and then I started playing Travel League baseball, and I just kept getting better, and the grind hasn't stopped. That's where I am today. Thanks.
Yeah, make sure you say your name first, please.
Okay.
Name, age, where you from?
I'm Gabriel. I'm 17. I'm from Texas. My baseball career's been pretty interesting. I played, like you said, from a young age. It's more just for fun. But as it started to progress, I started to have a passion for the game, and I started to take it a little more seriously. And I don't know, I've always been good, but I've never been like coordinated and athletic. So like I always looked real funny trying to play baseball. But you know, I gave it my all. And then so I don't know if y'all know this, but I went to a military academy my sophomore year, and up there, you know, baseball is real big, and it's cool. It's like a brotherhood. So like, you get to get real close with the people you play with and get to know them real well. And you know, I had a good time up there, and that was probably my highlight of my baseball career so far. But I just want to keep getting better. Just want to keep, you know, just participating in baseball as long as I can and just play it. I love it. Thank you.
I'm Logan. So I've been playing baseball since I was 5-6 years old. When I was 8, I played up, and then I did travel from 8 until I was 13. So I went to Cooperstown. That was super fun. And then just played high school baseball, stuff like that. And then I went on the Dominican trip when I was 12, and it was super fun. Great experience. I learned a ton. Yeah.
Alright, hey everyone, my name is Dakota Jones. I've been involved in baseball ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, played t-ball. That's what really got me into it. I got started after that into football and basketball. Basketball started when I was 7, so I've been a 3-sport athlete for a while. When I was 9, I got into football, and then I basically was into baseball all the way up until right before high school, and then after that I ended up falling away from the game a little bit, lost some passion for it, but then it came back to me, and I actually played in fall ball this past fall, and it got me back into it and stuff, and that's where I am now today. And I just really looking forward to playing on this trip, you know, having fun and working on my game, trying to get better.
Hi everybody, Tristan, 19 years old. I'm over from Gardnerville, Nevada. So my baseball story, it's kind of a long story, but I mean it's kind of good too. So I started when I was about 6, played ball. Never really played t-ball or anything like that. And there was a league down in Southern California. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but anyways, played through that league for a little bit. My family ended up moving to Bishop, California. So small town compared to what I was used to. I came from a very good, very competitive baseball area down in Southern California. And then I moved to a place that wasn't very good and wasn't very like fun to play baseball in that much. So I started Little League there, or I didn't start Little League, well, actually I did start Little League there because that's the only place that had it. It was a different league. Played with them for a year, and then we moved to Gardnerville. And then we moved to Gardnerville, played in high school, and Adam went to this, he's going to the same high school I went to. But anyways, played in high school, freshman, sophomore, junior year. My junior year, actually after season, I ended up getting hurt, fractured fibula, separated ankle, ended up with 7 or 9 screws and a tightrope going through my ankle. So that just pretty much, I thought it ended my career. Thankfully it didn't. Doctors told me I might never play again. Fortunately I'm back. So I came back and made a phone call. I played for many travel teams, so I've had quite a bit of networking experience throughout my baseball career with coaches and all that sort of stuff. So I got in contact with some people, and they helped me out in many ways that I'm grateful for. So, and that's the reason I'm here, partly because of Joey Tamari, partly because of Rob Bruno. Some of you guys probably know who that is. I don't know if you do or not. Anyways, he's a great guy. But I made a contact with him. He got me to the college that I was playing at, Folsom Lake College. So, and now I'm here. That's my story.
19 years old. Looks like we all started playing baseball around the same age. I started when I was 6. I skipped t-ball, just went into Little League, just doing all that. And I grew up in a really small town, not really much baseball. We had Little League, there was a bunch of little kids. Once we got to the high school level, it sort of just dropped off. But it's sort of crazy. When I was 10 years old, we're in this small little campground, and I was just playing catch, surprisingly, with my mom. My mom is who trained me how to play baseball. Sorry, Dad. But it's funny, we were out there playing, and someone comes up to us and told us, "Oh, someone wants to see you." We're like, okay. It was Tammy's mom, and Joey was actually staying a couple houses down, and we didn't know him at the time. So we just met him, and it was a pretty cool meeting, and we're like, all right, we'll see if we want to play for you, whatever. But I ended up playing for a couple different teams that go down the road. Didn't work out, so I actually ended up bouncing back to Joey and being able to play for him for many years. And then actually that's how I met Tamari, where I've been able to go on many trips with him up to this day. Been out to the Dominican that first year. I've done this cruise camp before. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I plan to do it in the future. And then right now I'm at Santa Barbara City College, and I'm playing ball right there, and then planning to transfer somewhere to like 4-year, maybe another JUCO. I don't know, but we'll see where it takes me in the future.
I'm Cade Leach, 18, from Ohio. My baseball career started from a young age. Then around 8, I started playing travel ball, started being more competitive. And I didn't really take baseball that serious until I was about 12, when I started practicing more, went to the cages and everything. And then high school started up, and then I ended up going to a different high school than the school I went to my whole life. So I'd meet new kids, and I went to that school because baseball was just better. The coach is still one of the best coaches I've had till this date. And one year at that school, we couldn't afford it. It was expensive. So I ended up going to a different school where I knew all the kids because I played travel ball with them. And like I said, I played football there. We've been very successful in football. And then 16, I went to the Dominican, played for Planet Baseball year down there. That's how I got in contact with him. That was a really good experience. Those kids are definitely no joke. They're throwing 90s and they're like 16. And then last year I went to Puerto Rico, and that was a great experience because you get to, like, when we go to Dominican, it's a complete different world than it is back home. It's unbelievable. And then even Puerto Rico, I mean, it's just completely different. And that's how I got here today.
Awesome.
My name is Brady Viegas. I'm 17. I started playing baseball when I was like 6, and I played multiple sports growing up: basketball, football, baseball. Never really got serious with baseball until like 11, 12, whenever I realized like I kind of wanted to play just baseball, and then kind of stopped every sport going into middle school and just focused on baseball really. And then I started playing travel ball in like 6th grade, and that just got me the passion for the game and loved it since then. So been playing travel ball ever since. 8th grade year, playing high school ball. It was a fun experience. It was very different than like the normal like Little League, and it made me have that drive to want to play more. And then coming up like into my junior year really got me focused on how I want to play college ball and how fun it would be to like play at that level, knowing how fun high school level is in travel ball. And I feel like this trip will help me get a different side of baseball that I've never seen before, and I feel like it'll help a lot, and that's where I am today.
My name's Hunter, I'm 16, and I'm from Roswell, New Mexico. And it all started when I was little, and my grandpa had got me into the game. And we would play catch every day or work on hitting and stuff every day, and he ended up passing away a couple years ago. And that's whenever I realized, like, I really love the game, and like not being able to go out there every day and just throw with someone is what made me realize like the passion I had for the game. And so that was when I realized like Roswell's a small city and I don't have much baseball. It's not a big baseball town. So I ended up seeking out to Albuquerque, which is a lot bigger, and playing for a travel team there, and that's whenever like I ended up starting to progress and realizing like kids are better than me, so I got to work way harder than what I was before, and I just keep working hard every day and like trying to get better because I want to be my career in the future, and that's my story.
Hi guys, my name is Kai Hirschberger, from Torrance, California, 19. Sorry for my voice actually, it's kind of weird. But I started playing baseball earlier than usual. My dad actually lied at my age so that I could play early. Played t-ball all the way through. I actually had a younger birthday, so I was able to play younger as well. And then as I progressed, I was able to play with older guys. Throughout high school, I actually had a year where the first semester of junior year, I transferred schools, me just being stupid. So then I lost baseball. Baseball was actually, my high school was the best high school around in the area for public schools. And then so I transferred, then at the end of the semester I transferred back because I needed to play for my team, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to succeed. So I had to gain trust back. I had to fight basically for my spot again. I got it, luckily. And then in high school, actually, I had a really good friend on the rival team who ended up passing away in a car crash. So before that, we used to push each other. We always used to fight back and forth, trying to see who was better. And then he died, so then it kind of pushed me a little bit more, kind of sent me back, but then gave me that drive. I always was. I felt I was good, but I wasn't good enough. I wasn't seen enough by coaches, so I wasn't able to get higher. I wasn't able to go to a 4-year yet, so I ended up going to junior college. It's my second year, but my freshman year, I actually, in October, we were playing scrimmage games. I was in the outfield. I'm an outfielder, actually. I dove, and I separated my shoulder. I tore my labrum completely. About a week later, I got surgery on it. So then I had to skip the year, and then this upcoming year I actually was playing. It was about the same time. Coach pulls me aside and says, "We don't have a spot for you." So I actually got kicked off the team. It still shocks me today, actually, and so that set me back. But then I actually got introduced to Tamari by a friend of mine, who then after I got cut, I called him about half an hour later, and he was like, "Hey, I got a coach for you." And so I was like, "All right, gotta give him my shot." Couldn't get anywhere. It was actually Coach Jones, who then I called, and he was like, "Hey, we got a spot for you. We're gonna play." So I'm actually gonna go play for him in Minnesota about a week after we get done with this trip. And so I'm just trying to get back in the game. I haven't played a game in about a year and a half, and so I'm here now to play some games, and then I'll be going off to college and see what happens.
My name's Adam Guerin, 17, from Gardnerville, Nevada. I started playing t-ball just kind of as an extra sport to play because my dad wouldn't let me play football in the spring. I didn't really, it was just something to do. I didn't really like it that much. And then, I don't know, I got invited to some camp thing up in Reno, and I just went up there, just played, and the coach asked me to play for his travel ball team. So I did that. I think I was about 9. Went to my first tournament. Oh my God, we were so bad. I think we lost like 22-0. And then I kept playing with teams and just jumping around, trying to get more experience. And then one of the kids that I played Little League with introduced me to Joey, and I played with Joey this summer, and went to Georgia, Seattle, Arizona, a bunch of big tournaments. And through Joey, I met Tamari, and Tamari told me about the trip and saved up a bunch of money, and I'm here. So.
I'm Noah Adams. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. So I started playing when I was about 4, and just really just started to just have fun playing the game, and had fun kind of just going through, just working hard, just to see how much fun I could have, and up until about this spring, my junior year, and just I had a buddy who he got drafted in the 3rd round, and just watching him in the spring, just his like cadence as he played, just his focus and his determination, just watching him, just even though I had gotten lessons from like Coach Desi since I was about probably 10 years old, just being able to learn as much as I could about the game, just really finding that drive from him, just seeing how like good he was, and how I realized that it wasn't just something special. I mean, it is something special to be able to play pro ball at any level, but it's not something that if you work hard enough and you can play like college ball at least, and just work your way up, and just seeing him and how good he was, and how his focus and how his approach affected him so much, just really like helped me try to focus on every little thing, whether it's just the way you load, or just the way you see a pitcher and prepare before the at bat, knowing where you can hit the ball and where he's spotting up, just focusing on that. And then, so went through junior year, played, and then this summer got reconnected with Desi, started working out with him more, and then this fall he talked to me about coming on the trip in August, and then it didn't work out timing, so he invited me to go on this one again, and it's good, and then I met everyone here.
What's going on? What's going on? Once again, Carnival Breeze. It's your girl, your cruise director, No, letting you know right now I'm inviting everyone inside the Ovation Theater for my Fun Ashore, Fun Aboard presentation, where I'm going to be giving you an inside scoop of the exact tours to do at each port of call, have some fun with you, and of course, I have free prizes. Hey, I have bottles of champagne, I have free shore excursions, free steakhouse dinners for 2, free shore excursions, and oh so much more. So come on in, deck number 3, grab your raffle ticket, then grab a seat, and let's have some fun. I'll see you there. Bye for now, everyone.
So after Desi invited me on this trip,
Seamless.
showed up, I was just looking, I heard there are going to be some great coaches here, and I could just learn more about the game, and just how to play it, see about playing at the next level. And just first day, didn't know anyone, walked up, kind of said my parents I was like ready to leave early, and he showed up late. I'm like, oh man, showing up late to the first day, this is going to be rough. And then just Tamari was talking, just walking up, and then seeing a bunch of players sharing, and then just I'm like, all right, so I can do this. And then just seeing just all the different ways that Coach Reggie helped us in the cage, just with balance, and how much your stance just affects everything with your swing, just learning that, and just knowing that I can learn so much more this week and just get better. So.
My name is Carlos Ramirez from Anaheim. I'm 17 years old. I like most of you guys. I started off when I was like 6 playing t-ball, and I used to do both soccer and baseball, but I got kind of tired of playing the soccer game at age, changing, getting ready for my baseball game in the car. So I decided to stick with baseball, and I really liked that decision. Now, it wasn't until I was about, say, 10, 11 years old when I got into this first tournament in my little league, and we won it all. And that's when I decided, like, you know, I really like this sport. I like hanging out with all these guys and making friendships, you know. So I decided that, like, I wanted to keep doing this even in high school, and I am. And it's just a lot of fun. Baseball, just gives you something to do outside, besides school, you know, something to get away from your studies and stuff. And yeah, just a lot of friends and fun time that I have playing the game.
Alright, so I'm JP, I'm 18, I'm from Massachusetts. I'm from Springfield, which is on the east side of Massachusetts. So I've been fortunate to grow up and watch a lot of the young role models in my community go off to play pro ball. Nick Ahmed for the shortstop for the Diamondbacks, Isan Diaz for the second baseman for the Marlins, and then Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle for Miami. All those guys are from my hometown, so it's just kind of cool to watch them grow to where they are now. But for me, baseball started young. I was obviously like a lot of these guys like T-ball, and then all the way growing up until high school, I was a dual roster guy. I played on my age group, and then I always played on the upper age group. So it was back and forth between games. On a Saturday, I have my game, and then I go to the next game, and it'd always be back and forth, just a ton of baseball. So for me, baseball's been, for the past 4 or 5 years, it's been just going through the motions on like a calendar schedule. So like you have the workout months, January, February is like working out in March, and then it goes right into summer, playing for summer, and then, you know, showcases, tournaments, and it's always just been like the same like kind of schedule. And it kind of gets you caught up where you kind of just take it for granted, and you kind of go through the motions where you have like the same schedule over and over again. But for me, that really changed this summer. I had one of my teammates that I didn't really know that well, so my freshman year I played my first summer with Ryan. Ryan was one of my teammates, my coach's son. And he came down with a rare bone cancer, osteosarcoma cancer. And so he was with me through my freshman year, all the way up to my junior year. He was battling osteosarcoma cancer. And even through after his chemo, he'd drive home 2 hours from Boston to come to the games to watch. He'd always be that light figure in the dugout, kind of keeping the guys light on their feet, not taking the game too seriously, and always being, you know, keeping the joy in the dugout. And so when he passed away this summer, a couple days before our opening day, we dedicated that season to Ryan, and it was a really, you know, it was a season where we could remember where it kind of brought us together. And for me, I only knew him for a couple years, but the rest of the guys on my team knew him from T-ball, so they got to grow up with him. So they kind of showed me not to take baseball for granted and to really see the game from a different perspective. So that's what kind of changed for me. So.
Oh, good job, fellas. Give
Good
yourselves
job,
a round
man.
of applause. Great job. Listening to everyone's story, it's gives me a whole nother perspective of who you guys are as people first, you know? Because at the end of the day, like, we talk about character all the time, you know? We want to know who you are as people, you know, before we can get to know you as baseball players, you know, because then when we're on the field, it almost teaches us how to teach you. Like Reggie talks about, I got to see your swing before I can teach you your swing, you know?
Exactly.
Well, we need to see who you are as people, and once we relate to you on that level, it allows us to mentor you from there, because we learn who you are. You're teaching us who you are by telling us who you are, by telling us your experiences, by telling us what you've gone through, right? A whole nother connection versus just seeing you run down to first base, seeing you throw a baseball, seeing you catch a baseball, right? And I think it's very important for you to not be afraid to talk about, or not be afraid to tell a coach who you are as a person, right? How many of you guys have called a coach, just, you say, I want to go to this school, I've kind of done some research. How many of you guys have actually picked up the phone and say, hey, I'm going to give this coach a call? Raise your hand, sir. All right. What made you do that?
I was just seeking advice, mainly for like life problems. It wasn't necessarily always about baseball, and I knew I was like really tight with my coach, so
Okay.
I decided to call him.
And when you talked to him, did you sell yourself? Like, did you tell him who you are?
I was very open with him.
Good.
I really trust him.
And then how did the conversation go? Was it a positive conversation?
It was a very positive conversation because when I opened up with him, we really connected really well, and he could really truly help me and give me advice I didn't need.
Right.
So yeah, it turned out good.
See that? Right? He opened up because you were transparent and you opened up, right? All right, that's good. What I found, guys, is if you can talk to a coach, it's really simple as far as, you know, like if you can keep kind of a format, so to speak, right? Number one is who you are as a person, right? So write that down, guys, right? When you're selling yourself, your character, who you are as a person, if you've done mission trips, if you're in your community feeding the homeless. I don't know, I mean, everyone's going to be a little different, but knowing who you are and articulating who you are is two different things, right? So you got to be able to tell people who you are, right? Second thing, who you are as a student. Write that down. Now, who you are as a student, what you're selling, GPA, right? You say 3.8, ooh, that says a lot, right? Tells me you're a good student. But 3.8, that's all you, if you just say that, I have a pretty good idea that you take care of the books, take care of what you need to do in the classroom, which is huge. Because at the end of the day, I know you guys say, I want to go to certain schools. I've coached players, yeah, I want to go to Cal Berkeley. I'll say, okay, what's your GPA? 2.8. I'm not going to Cal Berkeley with a 2.8, I'll be honest with you. So really academically, you know, wanting to go to certain schools and putting yourself academically in position to be accepted at those schools, you have to know what those requirements are. If you're going to put that as a goal, you got to be able to take care of on your end when it comes to GPA, when it comes to SAT, ACT. How many of you guys have already taken the ACT, SAT? Raise your hand high. All right. Guys that haven't, there's SAT prep classes. Being able to just get it done and do it. There's all kinds of support. Again, if you ask for it, right? But being able to get that done, and I know Clark's going to talk a little bit later about, you know, kind of requirements and things that he looks for on the collegiate level. But, you know, taking care of the books is huge, all right? Third, your tools as a baseball player, right? Anybody know your tools? What your tools are?
Your arm, your speed.
Throwing, hitting for power, speed, defense, right? Those are the 5 tools. Write those down. The 6th tool that I like you to write down is your makeup, right? How you handle adversity, how you handle success. Are you the guy that, you know, throws your bat, can't handle failure, and I can see it on the field? Or are you that poker face guy that, man, I can't tell what this guy's thinking. He hit a home run, same face. Struck out, same face. Right? 2 different players, but their makeup. That's one player is going to be in the game probably for a long time. One player is going to be in the game for a short time. Right? Hitting for power, defense, speed, arm. So your arm strength. Thank you.
Add that 7th one, attitude.
Oh, Reggie's been talking about attitude, right? You put that down, guys. Your attitude, all right? Absolutely. All right? I talk to players all the time, and they're always wondering, what do I tell the coach? What do I say? Well, if you can share and keep it in that order and sell yourself in that order, know what you're selling on the tools. Like, you're not gonna, if you're not a speed guy, you're not gonna be talking about speed. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not. That's the tool you kind of.
If you're a 7'2" guy, you're not gonna bring up speed. You're just not even gonna talk. We'll gloss over. We'll just go to the next one. We talk about what we're good at. Right? That's how you sell yourself. You don't sell yourself by telling them how bad you are at something. Right? So knowing what you're good at, and knowing what you need to get good at, so that you can sell yourself properly.
You guys got that? Now that's the foundation that you guys have. You can put that in an email, in a phone conversation, right? And you're just, and being able to, you know, with that, you're telling your story, you know. But it's a formatted way of being able to do it. How about this? You can do it with a handwritten letter. How many coaches how many handwritten letters have you received?
Not very many.
I wish I'd received more, actually, because it comes from the heart.
Yeah. Stand out. Be different.
When you write those letters, you write them, not mom or dad. It's important because coaches know when mom or dad or write a letter. Mom use words like "your wonderful school," you know, the beauty of your. You guys be you. You know, write what you feel inside. Be precise. Be concise in what you're putting down there. Do your homework. Learn about the school. Learn as much about the community, and the team, and the coach. And you put those things down there if you have a true interest in going to that particular school, because it says you've done your homework.
And if your handwriting is trash, type it. Seriously. You don't want to have to try. Did that say? Yeah. Type it. Still your words.
You know what he really means by that, guys? If your handwriting is not really that good, sometimes it can show what kind of person you are, what's really going on inside of you. Because if you can write clearly, it says a little bit about you. It tells a little bit about you that you do care about the little things. Like I said, be precise and be concise.
You guys got that?
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
So what you guys are doing right now, writing this down, you've gotten 5, 6, 7 different things to talk about to coaches. Guess what? It's free. It's absolutely free. All right, some of you guys get caught up in the latest little toy, you know, and you feel like you got to be involved in these recruiting services and stuff like that, which costs $1,200, $1,500, maybe even upwards of $2,000. You know what? What you're learning right now, selling yourself, communicating to coaches, it's free. You just have to do it the right way. We talked on the bus the other day. I think we talked about, you know, there's some things that you put on. We talked about field level. All right. I would rather have my players put on a video after talking to a coach and seeing exactly what that coach is looking for in these videos than just to throw something on there without even thinking about what you're doing. Because it could hurt you more than it could help you, right? But, you know, what you're doing, if you can organize your thoughts, your feelings, tell your story, be concise, maybe add some video to it, that really says a lot to a coach as opposed to just signing up for a service. Half the time when I get those things in the mail or emailed to me, I hit the delete button or I crumb them up and throw them in the trash. You know? But if I get something that has a lot of thought behind it, you know, people took some pride into putting this stuff together, it means a lot more. It really does. So what we're doing right now is practice for you guys doing that in the future.
Yeah.
This is a great exercise.
Yeah, keep these notes. I mean, this can be your script. As you're calling the coach, just throwing it on. Talk about it in order. It's not that hard. Just have to do it.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
And I'll
No, you're good.
So, Kai told his story. He mentioned me. He mentioned Coach Tamari. And you know, I get a call from Coach, and he was telling me about Kai. And I'm thinking to myself, man, we're already pretty good in the outfield. I don't know. I said, well, have him. Let's see his video. Have him send me a video. So Kai sent me his video, right?
Yeah.
And man, the first 4 plays on the video were stand-up triples. Now it's hard to hit a triple, let alone a stand-up triple, right?
Yeah.
And then there were some home runs, and then some diving for some catches, and so that was pretty doggone impressive. But then what did it for me was getting on the phone and talking to him and hearing his story, and hearing how he cares for the game, and what got him to this point. I'm like, man, I got to have this guy on my team. So it was a pleasure to get to know Kai throughout that process, and I'm tickled. Where you at, Kai?
Behind you.
Where you at? I'm tickled to have you on our team and look forward to coaching with you. So anyway, I'll shut up now.
No, that was awesome. and did you guys hear that? So what I like about what you said, Coach, is, and I've talked to college coaches, and the video is kind of like to pique their interest, you know? But the conversation and to see you play, that's the video kind of leads you to that. You see what I'm saying? So that's being able to hold a conversation on the phone was the determining factor right there. So guys, what you guys are doing in this, what we're doing this week is helping you get to that point, right? It's where you feel confident. So it's not such a, nervous. Me and Kai, we talked about it before, and I said, what did I say? I said, be yourself, man. You know? Mm-hmm. That's what Desi just said. That's what.
So, guys, if I can share something with you about your videos, don't show all your home runs or your triples and everything. Show your at-bats. Show the things that you're doing on the field. Show your practices. Coaches want to see what you're practicing and how you're going about your practice. Show some of the interaction that you have with your coaches. It's one of the things that they'll look at, and I've had coaches tell me that if you're interacting with a coach, are you looking him in the eye? Are you really paying attention to what he's saying? And then when you go out, are you able to execute those things? Show those things on your video. Show you being you, showing you, have someone video hustling in and off the field. Be the first one. One of the drills that I have in my academy is we time getting on and off the field. What we'll do, we want to have, we're in the dugout, I want my guys to be ready and on the field before the last man of the defense gets off the field. They're already on the field. Little things like that they're going to look, because in all the tools that they measure, there's one thing that you can do all equally, and that's hustle. So that's what show those things in your video, and don't be afraid to show your mistakes. Because what coaches are going to do, they're going to look at you to not only see what you're capable of doing now, they're going to project and see, hey, with a little work, I can help this player get to this level, because that's what they want to see. It's a word that gets overused sometimes, potential, but they all say, well, he has the potential to do this. If, and that if is you pay attention to instruction. You do your best out there all the time. You don't get down. You're showing a good attitude, and you seem to be having fun, enjoying what you're doing. So show those things in your videos, and you don't need all the fancy music and all of that, your walk-up song, your theme songs, like that. Show that, yes, you can be an amateur, but be professional in the way that, in how you conduct yourself. Show those things in your video. You'll get the coach's attention just that much more.
You guys hear that? I don't see too many people writing notes down.
They got it.
Every little bit, even if you could take one thing, guys, that we talked about. You have a little bit? Okay. Coaches, do you mind telling your stories?
As far as
kind of like,
all right, I'll talk. Just like you guys, I started out same position. I started out playing when I was 6 years old. And I had an older brother who pushed me as well. He's 7 years older, so I could never beat him. But he was just always there pushing me, always pushing me. So I was very competitive at a young age and always wanted to just be better. I had an older brother to look up to and try to be better than him. So played multiple sports, like a lot of you guys, football, basketball, baseball. And I've always enjoyed competing, you know, just being out on the field. It was always fun to me. Not that I did extra work as a young kid, but I was always playing. I was always doing something. And then as I got older, baseball really started to, you know, I really started to garner a passion for it. And I think a lot of that too was because of my brother. He played college ball, he got drafted, and played minor league ball with the Braves. So I was able to see that it's a reality, it's possible to be able to play this game and get paid for it or whatever else, go to school and get an education. So that pushed me. That pushed me to want to be better. So at that point, which was around, I don't know, right around high school, my brother's playing pro ball and I want to be where he is. So it pushed me. And even though I'm a small guy, you guys see it, every one of you guys are bigger than I am. So I had a chip on my shoulder, and I always felt like I had to, you know, that I could do anything you guys do, whether I was small, big, whatever. So with that passion and wanting to get better, I just put in at around the 10th, 11th grade. That's when I really started pushing myself. I got a letter, or a coach from UNF, Dusty Rhodes, called my coach at high school and said he wanted me to go there. And I just thought it was the coolest thing that someone noticed that I was putting in work and honored that they would want me to come to their school. And that just pushed me even more to just want to go out and play the game and be as best as I could. So I put in work. I mean, one thing, no one ever had to tell me to go take ground balls. No one ever had to tell me to go hit or go run and go get it in. It was fun to me. I thought, because that's what I wanted to do, I was super focused on it. Initially, I just wanted to go to college. I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a scholarship. And once I felt like that was something that was attainable and that I kind of got to that point, I felt like, man, I have another year or two where maybe possibly I could be, you know, I could get drafted if I work hard enough and get there. And so over that next year, I really put in work and I got a lot better. And I started getting contacted by different pro teams, and I was getting letters from schools all over the place. I mean, it was awesome. I go to my mailbox every day, and there was letters from different schools, and it was pretty cool. I could pick up a letter and be like, I don't want that one. This is cool. I like this. But I was in a position because of the work that I had put in to be able to make my own decisions and kind of forge my own way. But it all just came down to me taking a lot of the information that I got from coaches. I had a lot of good coaches over the course of my lifetime. And people give you good information. Guys, you get good information on how to do things all the time. I just think a lot of times we're just not paying attention, or we forget what we were told. And so it just kind of goes by the wayside, especially in baseball. You're getting inundated with information all the time. You're playing with different coaches telling you how to do this, do it this way, do it this way. Hey, try this, try this. So it's really hard to remember all the information you get. That's why I like notebooks and I like writing things down. I can always go back to it, whether it's 10 years ago or whenever I have it. So being able to utilize information and pay attention to it, I think, is a really big thing, because we all get that information. We've all had people say, hey, you know, work hard in school, or hey, you know, you have to do a little bit extra if you want to be good. Sounds like regular words, but they're so true. And if you just take them to heart and put those into action, who knows what could happen. And that's what happened to me. I really put in the work. I believed what people were telling me that have been to places where I wanted to go. And I trusted them, and I trusted that process and put in the work, and it worked out for me. I ended up getting drafted in the 4th round out of high school. I'd gotten a scholarship. I was going to play at Tennessee, University of Tennessee. I had a full scholarship there, and I forewent that to sign. And everything worked out great for me. Ended up playing 17 years professionally. Lived out my dream. It was my passion, and a lot of people don't get to realize their passions in life. I was able to find it at an early age, and live it out. So I love being around baseball players, young guys. I feel like I have a lot of information to give, and it's just fun being around. We're all kind of having the same spirit, around this game. We love the game. We like being good at the game, and hopefully you guys, you want to do this, at least at a college level or professionally. I mean, I'm telling you, there's nothing like being able to just wake up and play baseball every day for a job. I mean, they paid me to do that. It's unbelievable to be able to have that experience. And it wasn't given to me. I had to earn it. I worked my butt off, but it's possible. And to be able to go out and do what you love and get paid to do it, I mean, there's no better feeling in life. I don't think. That's what happiness is, right? I'm happy I get to go do what I want to do. You're going to pay me to do it, and life is really good, right? So I say all that to say this, is when you get information, take it to heart. Of course, more times than not, people are looking out for you. They want what's best for you, and they're going to give you the best information that they can. Now, all information isn't good information, and you have to be able to discern what's good and bad. But for the most part, I know all the information that you're going to get on this trip is going to be 100. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. So have your eyes and ears open, and be open to getting better.
My story is a long story, because I'm the oldest guy in here. But first let me say, listening to each one of you speak this morning, you all had something in common. You all had a beginning that you over time developed a love for the game of baseball. I mean, you started young. Some of you had adversity that you've learned to overcome, and some of you have been fortunate to get a start and progress and get to the point of where you are. Well, I shared all of that too, because as a young player at the time growing up, my first recollection of being able to even begin to play, I probably was about 4 or 5 years old, and both parents working. It just so happens that my older brother, there were 8 of us. There were 5 boys and 3 girls. And my older brother wound up taking me to school with him, high school in Los Angeles, there at Jefferson High School, and I had to go around all of the different classes with him that day, and at the end of the day he had baseball practice there at the school, and I had to sit in the stands, and a ball came over into the stands. And I went and got the ball and threw it back onto the field. And the coach threw another ball up in the stands again. He said, "You see, throw that ball again." I threw it back. And he yelled at my brother and said, "He has a better arm than you do." And so from that time on, my older brother would take me out in the front yard of our house and play catch with me. I was a little afraid at the time of catching the ball, because the glove that he gave me was much bigger, and then it was kind of heavy to lift up, and I was a little bit afraid that he would hit me. And being small, I worked at whatever I did, and I guess when you talk about it to say you're gifted, well, I was one of those kids that God blessed to have the ability to do whatever I wanted to do athletically. So at home I would play all sports. Football, I could run, I could throw, I could kick the football, I could do all of those things. And as I was growing up, watching my brothers, it wasn't until I got into playing in a park league that you had where you go to the park, moms and dad would kick you out of the house at that time, you know, to go play. And I'd go to the park and we'd play pickup games amongst ourselves, either that or even play in the street, something you guys probably don't get to do anymore because you play organized ball. We played together, we made up our own games as kids, and that's how we learned and got better in the process of learning and trying to copy and emulate what the better players were doing. So, in going to the park and playing, there was a little league team that was practicing out there, and I hadn't even thought about playing Little League ball at this time. I'm 11 years old, and I'd only been playing street ball and kids, and the coach happened to see me out there playing with the other kids and asked if I wanted to come and play with their team. I said, sure. So I tried out, and I found baseball that way from an organized standpoint. We'd go and listen to coaches and played Little League ball, 11, 12 years old, and started to move in what they call Babe Ruth and get higher in ball. All the while, I was always the smallest kid out there, but I could play. And whatever I did, I tried to be the best that I possibly could be at it. And that was that competitiveness in me, that I wanted to beat you. And it was only because everyone else was bigger than me. So, going through junior high school, the 7th, 8th grade, and where I went to school, it was 9th grade. It was considered junior high school rather than freshman ball. Was always one of the top players in whatever sport it was, basketball, running track, and doing. Got to high school, my sophomore year, I was barely 5 feet tall. Went out for football, told me I couldn't play varsity football because I didn't have the exponents, meaning I was too small. Couldn't play JV sport because I was too small. I was out for running track. I was getting ready to go. I was at the high jump pit because, like I said, whatever I did, I could do well. And I could jump too. I was at the high jump pit and getting ready to make my practice run up to the high jump pit, and all of a sudden I felt someone kick me in the butt. Turned around, there was a coach. He says, I want you on the baseball field. Well, they only had varsity baseball and JV baseball. I want you on the baseball field. I said, but coach, I said, I'm going to run track. I said, he says, I want you on the baseball field. I said, well, I want to run track. And he said, well, do you want to pass biology?
Jeez.
Yeah, I'll see you on the baseball field. So I went out, and he saw me, he put me in shortstop, saw me catch the ground ball and throw the ball across the infield. And I started the ball about waist high, and it went over the first baseman's head. Well, he said, tomorrow, you are out here for baseball. So I was, like I said, barely 5 feet tall, sophomore, and there was a senior that was playing shortstop. And and they moved him over to second base so that I could play shortstop as a sophomore. So I played a varsity sport. At that time, as a sophomore, finally, the exponents didn't matter at that point, because I set out, and once he told me, okay, you're going to make varsity and play to be the best shortstop that I could be, and I was fortunate enough to make All-League, which is a Coast League at the time at Centennial High School in Compton, as a sophomore. Then in my junior year, and between my sophomore and junior year, I started to grow. And I grew over the summer between my sophomore and junior year to 5'7.5". So that summer was a little bit tough on me body-wise, and the aches and the pains that I had because I was growing as fast as order. And went out for football and made the varsity football as a defensive back, and wound up making All-League and All-State in football, and then again in baseball, out playing. And I used to fool around. It's what the curiosity that I had as a kid. Whatever I did on one side, I tried to do it on the other. I could throw. So I would throw left and fool around, and we were fooling around in batting practice one day, and I decided to hit left-handed, and I hit a ball into the canal. Well, these are things that I had done as a kid, picking up rocks and throwing them up and hitting with a broomstick, and whatever I did on one side I tried to do on the other, because players, I could go through a lineup of a major league team and try to be that player. And I used to do those things, throwing the rocks up and hitting the alley. And got pretty good at it to the point that I would hit the awnings on the roofs of people, on the doors of people's houses, and I always knew when it was time to stop, when I could hear, "Reggie!" Take off and run, because I knew a window was going to be next. But anyway, the coach said, "We don't have any left-handed hitters on the team." He said, "Smitty, I want you to hit left-handed." I said, "But coach," he said, "I want you to hit left-handed." I said, "But coach, I don't want to do that." He said, "Do you want to play?" So I became a switch hitter. In my junior year in high school, I hit .402 that year. My senior year as a switch hitter, I hit .406. And I know this sounds hard to believe, but I only had 2 singles the whole season. Everything else was double, triple, and a home run. There was no draft at that time, and you could sign with any team that you want. But I still love football because I had played in All-League as a junior, and I was All-League and All-State as a senior, and I was going to go to college and play football. I'd gotten a few offers to go and play football, but something happened, a little divine intervention, I like to call it. My dad got sick, and he had always taught to us boys that when they got old, they said when they got old, he wanted his sons to be able to take care of my mother and he. And like I said, the 8 children, I'm number 7. My oldest sister was 15 years older than, so they, in high school, they had moved out. So I looked at it as an opportunity to do something to help my mother and father. I said I wanted to sign a professional baseball contract because scouts had started to talk to me as well. And one scout in particular had been following me, and I didn't know it since I was 10 years old. And some of the things that I talked to you guys about earlier, about hustling, doing the things that you're doing, you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. So whatever you do, after you put the effort into it, like Desi said, no one outworked him. And I can say this in all truthfulness, the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. So put that work in and do those little things. Make them notice you. But what I didn't tell you was I actually was a professional player when I was 15 years old. How many of you have heard of the Negro Leagues, the old Negro Leagues? I played with the remnants of the old Kansas City Monarchs when I was 15 years old. They paid my dad for me to play. They would give him $15 to $20 a game for me to play. But baseball wasn't my first love. It wasn't my first sport.
Wow.
Football was. Like I said, I was going to go and play football. But Dad getting sick, I had an opportunity to sign a professional contract in baseball, because as a scout, do something to help my family. My dad wasn't too happy about it because he wanted me to go to school, and it was when I said to him, I said, Dad, you always said that you wanted your sons to take care of you, and he said, this is the way that I would do that. He said, okay, but I had to promise that I would go back to school later on. Well, I wound up signing with this coach, and with this scout had seen me since I was 10 years old and been following me, and I never knew it. Never knew it. His name was Bo Palika, Irv Palika was his real name, and he was with the Minnesota Twins at that time, and they had just moved to Minnesota from Washington, D.C. Later on, I'll play a little trivia with you guys to see your baseball knowledge. But I wound up signing as a bonus baby with the Minnesota Twins in 1963. And I was supposed to go straight to the major leagues for the amount of money that they signed me for. Well, they sent me out and I played a month and a half, and they told me to go home and check back into school. I said, okay. Well, they had, at that point, sending me to rookie ball, they reassigned my contract to AAA baseball at Fort Worth. But they told me to go home and check into school. Well, I didn't figure out what was going on. Didn't know. Well, that December, they had what they call the Rule 5 draft now, but it was, then it was a draft of unprotected players that had signed who were supposed to maybe be on a, what they call a 40-man roster. I know you guys have all heard about that. Well, I was taken as the first player in the draft that year of unprotected players by the Boston Red Sox. And so at age 18, I had a major league contract. And then was on a major league roster for the rest of my career, and I spent very little time in the minor leagues playing, and I was fortunate enough to play 22 years overall, kind of professional baseball. And the reason why I said divine intervention, because that's what I was supposed to do. My maker said, no, you're supposed to play baseball, because I don't think I would have lasted 22 years had I played football. So that was the direction that I was being led in. And I'm saying that so that you guys keep your minds open. Keep your options open, because you never know what direction that you'll go in. And that's why school is so important. And being able to go back to school and learn and get an education, because of the things that education can provide for you, they can never take away from you. I only played baseball 22 years. Because there came that time when you couldn't do it anymore. But my mind, the things that I learned along the way, the gifts that were shared with me along the way, I have them forever. And I've been able to keep them because I can share them with you. All of the information they talk about that we have here to share with you, and why you are here, you're here for a reason. Because you're supposed to be here at this point in time. At this point in time. So never give up on that. Work hard. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get, and you'll be. And pick our brains. Ask questions. Ask that most important question. Why, Coach? Why? We'll have an answer for you. It's something that you can take and put in your savings account, and you can go to the bank and get it whenever you need it. Thank you, guys.
So, by the way, while I'm doing this, if you can figure out how to get that noise off there, that'd be great. My past's a little different from Desi and Coach Reggie and Tabari, okay? I want you to look around the room right now. Okay, look around the room, but when you're doing it, I want you to block out Reggie, Desi, and Tabari. They're not even here right now, okay? Just look around the room, right? And I'm not saying this to be negative Nanny, all right? But these guys are the exceptions to the rule, all right? They all had an opportunity to play professional baseball, all right? They did play professional baseball, I should say, all right? But in reality, you guys that are sitting here, we'd be lucky if one major league player comes out of this group right here, all right? And I'm not telling you that to be negative Nanny. I'm telling you that because it's the truth. It's the reality. And I'm a part of you because I didn't make it to the big leagues either. All right? That's the only thing that I ever wanted to do. Does that make sense? What I want you guys to understand is this, okay? I don't want you to attach your self-worth to going to the big leagues. Does that make sense? Because that's what I did. And that was wrong. Okay? Because I'm living proof, and I'm not putting these guys down whatsoever because I worship these guys. But I'm living proof that you can be successful no matter what you decide to do. Whether it's pumping gas, whether it's being a lawyer, all right, whether it's being a salesman, whatever you want to do, if you work hard at it, you bust your butt, you meet people along the way, you can be good at anything you want to do. If it's baseball, it's baseball, all right? Just so happens, you know, I grew up and playing sports was what I wanted to do. All right, I was actually a better football player than I was a baseball player, but I had a passion for baseball. That's what I really wanted to play. But guess what? The football scholarships come lining up, and I didn't have very many baseball options. So what did I do? I took the opportunity to go play football. But when I did that, I told the coaches, I said, you know what? I wanted an opportunity to play baseball. So, you know, I had this big pool. I mean, Stanford's, Purdue's, Air Force Academies, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, these kind of schools. But I told them, if you want me, you're going to have to let me play baseball. All right? And that's what happened. I got an opportunity to play 2 sports in college. All right? Not a lot of people do that. But for me, football, although I was good at it, was a job. Okay? It was a job. I didn't particularly look forward to going to practice every day. Once I got there, I was fine. But it's like, man, I got to go to football practice. On the flip side of things, when I played baseball, I counted the hours down, man. Couldn't wait till I got there. You know? So, you know, how did I get to where I was at? I was a single child in our family. I had to make things up. I played with myself a lot of times. I know it sounds kind of probably not very good, but I made things up. All right. I grew up on Lake Michigan. Okay, I'd go down to the beach, and there are rocks on the beach, and I had a great arm. I think I got that arm strength from throwing rocks out of Lake Michigan from all different angles. All right. Through rocks. Then I'd progress and I'd pick up bigger rocks and see how far I could throw that, you know. And so I was always blessed with having a great arm. I've always had great speed. Why? I was in trouble a lot. I had to run from people, you know. We just ran. You know, we grew up on a neighborhood. There were big kids and there were little kids. So we were always getting into mischief, and we were running from the big kids. You know, it was hit and runs, whatever, you know. You know, my career progressed. I played football and baseball in college. You know, at the end of the day, 2 years into it, I had my 5th concussion playing football. And the doctor said, you probably need to, go with baseball. And so that kind of scared me because, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to get a baseball scholarship. I had a full-ride football scholarship. I went to the baseball coach. The baseball coach said, "Hey, come on, man, we want you." And so it really worked out for me. I finished my career as a baseball player. Had some success. At Central Michigan, we won 3 out of 4 years I was there. We won the MAC championship. We had some great teams. I was around some great people in my career. That led to an opportunity where, you know, I ended up getting hurt my senior year and didn't get drafted. I got kind of a late start in the baseball game, all right? But I did open some eyes, I did make some contacts, and I wanted to go. If I wasn't going to play professional baseball, what else? What was the next best thing?
Coach.
It was coaching or being an administrator. So I looked up, probably didn't look up on the computer at that time, but I looked up in some books, found Ohio University was the best sports administration school in the country, right? And so made some phone calls, sent some letters out, talked to Coach Carbone at Ohio University, and you know, he invited me down to be his grad assistant. So that really opened up some doors for me in the coaching world because he knew just about everybody there was in college baseball, right? And so, you know, I've been around some great people. I know coming up here, I talked to Reggie and I asked him if he knew Tom Tresh. And Tom Tresh was my hitting coach. He played for the Yankees. He was Rookie of the Year in '62. I learned so much hitting from Tom Tresh, all right? But anyways, I wouldn't have had that opportunity at Ohio University had it not been for just my experiences that happened through my life. Getting hurt my senior year, I didn't play pro ball. That's okay. I redirected my energies elsewhere. I met Joe Carbone at Ohio University. I became a college baseball coach. So I've impacted people in different ways. You know, I got into, well, there's one other thing I want to touch on. So I get out of grad school, and I have a teaching degree. It was hard to find a teaching position back then. I was 24 years old, whatever the case may be. Looking around, couldn't really find anything. I got a call from Dick Roach. I don't know if you know Dick Roach or not. Dick Roach signed Derek Jeter, guy with the New York Yankees. Dick was on the east side of Michigan, and I'm on the west side of Michigan. And he said, I can't be 10 times or 10 places in one spot, so I need some help over there. Can you help me? Yeah. That'd be great. So I started off, I was working with Dick Roach. I was a part-time scout for the Yankees. And he said, my first assignment, he says, hey, there's a young man I want you to go see on the west side of the state. I want you to give me a report on him, let me know how he's doing. So I'm like, okay. So I go over to Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm watching Bangor Connie Mack against Kalamazoo Maroons. And there's this young man playing. He's a string bean, about 6'3", maybe 170 pounds. Get that, with wet clothes on. And I watch him play, and he got pretty good actions. Listened to him around the dugout. He seemed really cocky, really arrogant. And, watched him play, and it seemed okay, And then later that night, the game was over. I go back home, and Dick Roach calls me on the phone and says, "Hey, what'd you think of that guy?" And I'm like, "Seems okay, he's really skinny. I don't know if he'll ever make it to the big leagues. His actions are okay." And I hear him chuckling on the other end of the phone. I'm like, "What's so funny?" And he says, "Clark, not only will that guy be a good big leaguer, he'll be a Hall of Famer someday." All right? Derek Jeter. So for me, that was like a wake-up call for me. It was really humbling because here I am at 24 years old. I think I got a lot of things figured out. I've been around a game. We've won some championships. Feeling pretty good about myself. And then Dick Roach just took me down a few slots, about Derek Jeter. But I learned at a young age, 24, that, man, I had a lot to learn in the game of baseball, So moving forward, I ended up getting an opportunity to go coach Division III baseball at a school, Elmhurst College in Chicago. It was a great school, western suburbs. And I was into it probably 3 or 4 years, and we had built our team up a little bit. It was really down when I took over. Got to a point where we're starting to compete. And 1996, I remember we had a really good team, and we just didn't perform as well as we would have liked. We fell short of our goals. Okay. And at the end of the year, I was in my apartment, and I'm watching this infomercial on TV, and basically it was how this millionaire, became a millionaire. You just watched a millionaire, then he became a millionaire. How easy does that sound, right? Well, I figured, man, if that can be applied in business, it can be applied in baseball too. So I thumbed through my NCAA manual at the time. I want to find out who the most winningest coach is in college baseball. And at the time, there was a gentleman by the name of Gordy Gillespie. All right, Gordy at the time had taken over up at Ripon College in Wisconsin, working for his son, who was the athletic director, Bob. I didn't know him from a hole in the wall, And so I picked up the phone, and I called him, and I said, "Gordy, you don't know me." And all of a sudden he goes, "Clark Jones, Elmhurst College, oh, you're the greatest coach in the CCIW." And I'm thinking to myself, this guy don't even know me. All right? Well, long story short, I said, "Gordy, we struggled this year. I just need some answers. I'd love to be able to buy a coffee, buy a sandwich, And he said, "What are you doing at 5 o'clock?" It's like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't expect to call his office and him to pick up. First thing, I was ready to leave a message. I'm talking to D. Gordy Gillespie on the phone, and he says, "What are you doing at 5 o'clock?" And I said, "Shoot, I'm not doing anything at 5 o'clock. He said, "Now Ripon, Wisconsin's 5 hours away, right? I'm in Chicago. I'll meet you at the Four Lakes Village Pub at 5 o'clock. Can you be there?" Well, shoot, yeah, I can be there. So he drove 5 hours, Wisconsin, all the way down to Illinois for me. Why? Why'd he do that? Because he cared. Right? So we got talking baseball. We probably spent 2 hours talking baseball. And at the end of that conversation, I could jump up on that table and preach a sermon. That's how I felt. because he took time out of his day to come see me, who we didn't even know, right? Why am I telling you this story? Because you're going to come across someone in your life someday. And I asked him, I said, Gordy, what can I do to repay you? You know, I wouldn't have met her. I wouldn't have had him if I was playing in the big leagues. So again, never attach your self-worth to one particular thing because you're capable of doing a lot of good things. All right? And you may not even know what that may be right now. It could be baseball. I hope it is. But it may be in a great businessman. It may be in an accountant. It may be a garbage man. But if you're going to be a garbage man, be the best damn garbage man you can ever be. Right? So that's my story.
It's been awesome. I'm truly humbled just listening. Because I haven't heard all the coaches that I've grown to respect and look up to. You guys' story, and I appreciate you guys sharing. Truly humbled to be a part of and to be coaching with you guys. My story is I'm from. I know some of you guys have probably heard it before that have been in the program, but I'm going to say it again for the people that haven't. I'm from the Bay Area, El Cerrito, Richmond area. I didn't play baseball until I was 12. I know a lot of you said that you played baseball at 4 or 5, but you guys see my mom on the trip, and her rule is if it costs money, you're not doing it. so at 11 years old, I befriended a kid in the neighborhood, and his dad coached, and he said, that he would sponsor me. He went to my mom and said, I pay for his league fees, I'll pick him up and I'll drop him off. And she said yes. so that's how I started playing baseball. I was a visual person, and listening to the coach's stories it sounds like to me like being a visual person. It seems like we didn't have lessons in hitting coaches and things like that. So being able to see other people hit, and like you guys said, mimicking certain swings, and that's visual. Being able to mimic those things, it's how I was as well, because I wasn't able to have the Reggie Smiths or the Desi's or the Coach Clark's or Clark be able to teach me. So that was the first mentor. Well, I didn't know what mentoring was. Well, that was the first mentor that came into my life. And the second time is and so I played Little League and hit home runs, and my first home run and the snow cones of turning the balls in after the game and all that. Like, that was the best ever. Little League. It was at the tail end of Little League. And then we moved from, actually at the time we were in Sacramento, North Highlands at the time, and then we moved to Richmond, El Cerrito, California. And there was a baseball field across the street, and a situation where a coach was hitting his son ground balls, and I asked him if I could take some. He's like, sure, jump out there. And what I learned in Sacramento, he saw my arm and he saw how I threw, and he had me hit. He's like, man, why don't you play for our team? And that was that was like the 14, so it was pony baseball at the time, right? And I was like, I don't know, my mom, I got, does it cost money? And so he's like, don't worry, I'll pay for your league fees, I'll pick you up and I'll drop you off, Sure enough, my mom said yes, right? And so that's when it started getting competitive, in the Bay Area, and I saw some really good athletes. The league was really good. Nate Haynes was an outfielder in the league, and Horace Lawrence was a good friend of mine. But there was just really, really good talent that came out of that league and the Bay Area in general. But the crazy part about me, and again, what I've been hearing the coaches say, is I was really super competitive. hated losing. And if you beat me, I would figure out a way to come back, and I would come back and beat you. You know, that's how I was with baseball. And there's kids that would bet me that I wouldn't make the team. You know, if you bet somebody in high school that you can't make, or middle school, you know, that you can't make the team, and you're not making money, you really believe it, right? But for some reason, I didn't believe it. I knew that I had talent. I love just being competitive. So for high school, I won the bet that I didn't, you know, that the kid bet me. But I didn't play varsity, so I played 2 years of JV, whatever you call it, numbers game, politics, whatever. But played 2 years, freshman year, sophomore year, JV, first base. Then my junior year, I was able to make varsity, but I didn't touch the field. I was a DH, and I won an all-league award, and I was really pumped up about that award. You know, I was like, man, I can take baseball like past high school. And I didn't know, I wasn't thinking pro ball, I wasn't thinking college at the time, to be honest with you. But I thought I wanted to do more. So there's a newspaper article, the Goodwill series goes to Australia, right? Tryout/clinic, right? And there was a phone number. And I don't like reading the newspaper personally to this day, but for some reason I read that newspaper for a reason, and I called the number. And it was a gentleman by the name of Bob Williams. And he created this organization called the Area Code Games. On the West Coast, it's a big deal. But he was putting on these trips to Australia. And so I talked my mom into going on a tryout, and it was at Santa Clara University. I went to the tryout, made the team, and I was super pumped that, and my grandfather was living at the time, and he worked for the airlines, so he was able to get buddy passes for all of us, so that cut the cost of the trip. And my mom and my grandfather was able to come. And so they billed us and host family, so we literally,
What's going on? What's going on, everyone? A very good morning to you. It's your girl, your cruise director, No. Hope you had a great night's rest. I hope you had a great breakfast. And I hope you're ready for a great fun day at sea. Right now, there's a ton of stuff going on, and you can catch quite a bit of it. So first things first, our Caribbean shopping show happening in the Ovation Theater, where you'll meet George Without an E, our shopping expertise on board, and he's going to give you the 411 on how to save your money at our beautiful ports of call. Plus, just by being in attendance, you can enter to win a free cruise, courtesy of Carnival. So come on in to the Ovation Theater, deck number 3 forward. On Lido deck, if you're under the sun, I'll be up there in just about 5 minutes for our Master Mixology competition. That's right, red versus blue, to see who the ultimate mixologist is here on board, with your chance to get your drink featured at our local bars and our Carnival Fun Times. That's going to kick off at 11:45 on the Lido deck. Then later on is our lip sync open auditions. Have you ever wanted to be on Paramount Pictures lip sync battle? Well, the Carnival Breeze has one right here on board. So make sure you definitely take advantage and meet us out there at 12:30 on the Lido. The fun shops are open, and they're having huge events, from Invicta watch events to $10 fun finds to so much more. So check them out, say hello to the team, and ask them how you can save a whole chunk of money. We have our art auction registration at 12:30 in the conference center, deck 4 midship, with that very free to attend champagne art auction happening at 1 o'clock. My casino players, 12:30 is your slot tournament, and 1 o'clock is your Texas Hold'em tournament. And as a matter of fact, just last night, I met a friend of mine. His name is Andy. He went to play some board games, and he has a really cute idea. So at 1 o'clock, if you're out and about, join him in the library bar, deck 4, for some games, some fun, and a really real-life Jenga-ish type of game that he'll explain all the rules for. And tell him No sent ya. But whatever you guys choose to do, have a fun afternoon, and I'll see you on Lido deck for some fun under the sun. Bye for now.
all right, I'll wrap this up a little bit, guys, to get you guys out of here. But I'll pick up where I left off. So that Australia and living in the host families, 14 days in Australia, that changed my whole life and my perspective of baseball. And that's where I got the idea of trips like this and going to other countries, because I was able to get out of my little small bubble, El Cerrito, Richmond, and I was able to go to Australia, being in a host family where I was able to learn
their culture. I was able to be around the baseball in that area. Jim Colburn and Tom McNamara were my coaches, so I had scouts as coaches over there, and they were telling me, hey, the kid, you might get drafted. I like what I see. I was eating all that up, and I was like, wow, it was tangible now. I could touch it, I could feel it, and so when I came home, the confidence that I gained from that whole experience, that's when I knew that I had a shot at playing professional baseball. The Mariners actually flew me out to the Kingdome before they demolished it. It was me and 4 other players, and it was just a private workout. And that kind of told me, I was like, wow, they flew me out. They showed interest enough to only bring 4 or 5 guys. So again, I'm gaining more confidence and saying, hey, maybe I have a shot. Sure enough, the Bob Williams guy that I'm telling you about, that area code, which was huge, well, he put me on a team. Normally on an area code, you have to try out for that. He put me on a team and said, they called it an at-large team because I was a bubble guy. So my area was CeCe Sabathia, Tony Torquato, Antoine Rollins, Jimmy Rollins' brother. Those were the talent that came in my area, which I wasn't on that level. And so I was a bubble guy, though. So he just put me on a Cleveland Indians team that he called, and I played on that team. And it was 1 week of baseball, the area code games, where you have pretty much every college team there, and you have every major league representation there. And I played 1 week. I hit 1 triple that almost left the yard, but other than that, like I said, those guys, throwing 90, 93, 94, at CC 98. So I didn't have a whole lot of success, but that 1 hit kind of put me on the map. I was a tall, real skinny, and they saw they saw, hey, this kid's gonna fill out. Clearly, I filled out, but they saw the potential of power, because just on how my build was, all right? And so that one, I call it that 1 game, and I started having scouts calling the house. Like Desi, I was getting letters from colleges showing interest, colleges that I never even heard of, colleges that I have heard of, and I had like 20, 25 scouts at every game. 1 game, I played against NCNL, Antoine Rollins' team. I hit 2 home runs in 1 game, right? Bunch of scouts there. I finished the season with 4 home runs. Right? that one game. Showed out at the right time, right place, the right people there. Obviously, the Dodger scout was at that game. And I ended up, just through that experience and area codes, that game, I hit like over 400 that year. I ended up getting drafted in the 8th round by the Dodgers, right? And, that going from, again, I told you, I didn't even play varsity till my junior year. I didn't solely play first base till my senior year. To be able to kind of capitalize on that opportunity. But when I look back at my life, it was that phone call that I made. Not knowing what I was doing, but I was selling myself. For me to call a number for a tryout and go, like I always think when we talk about everything happens for a reason, if I didn't make that call, I didn't have a coach that was pushing me or would promote me. And so me doing that action led to, I'm still in the game. I'm still able to give back. We talk about the power of reciprocity and giving to others based off of your experiences and mentors that have helped you, so now you can help others. I ended up learning what that really means from being in the game, right? So I say that to you guys. You've heard it from us coaches. You've heard it from yourselves. Is what you guys are, how you gotten to this point. So based off of what you're hearing, everyone's going to be impacted in a different way throughout this week, right? But hopefully what we've shared to you today will help you guys get closer to your goals. The next public speaking session is going to be goals and action steps. So you guys got your papers ready, because we're going to wrap this up. You're going to write, just I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to have the actual sheets and everything. Yeah. But I just want to let you know what we're going to be going over, just like I let you guys know what we're going over today. You're gonna talk about 3 to 5 goals of what you want in the next. So we're talking about short-term goals in the next
6 months. Okay. So 3 to 5 goals that align with 3 to 5 action steps. Okay. We're going to talk about your wish list in terms of colleges. You know, if you haven't signed yet. If you have signed, obviously that's the school you're going to. But like as far as like colleges that you're looking at, we want to know. And career-wise, I'm just curious, your career. What you guys want to do after you're done with baseball, all right? So that's going to be from 5 to 6:30 today. Today? Here. Tonight. Look at that. And every night, we're going to have 5 to 6:30. Just so you guys know, it's going to be here. And we're going to have a different thing. We'll let you know. Amazing so far. Like just hearing not only the players but coaches. I appreciate you guys sharing. That was impressive. That was amazing. Jana, do you have anything?
No. No. We'll be back here at 5 to 6:30. It's formal night tonight, so make sure you guys come looking sharp for dinner. We're gonna pick a place. I'll be texting you before then. I hope you guys are getting my text. I'll be texting you before then to let you know exactly where we're gonna meet for the picture. So we can meet before dinner. So plan on being. We normally are at dinner at 8:15. So plan on being ready so that we can go somewhere and take a picture by like 7:45. And you'll be in here again from 5 to 6:30.
So we don't know where dinner's at yet.
Well, dinner's the same place we ate last night.
Same place.
Yeah, same place as last night. It's formal night. No, you don't have to come formal to here.